Alright, for this demonstration I'm going to show you how to make a 1" by 1" grid on your drawing paper for our portrait drawings. So the first thing you want to do is get a ruler for your piece of paper, and the key with your ruler when you get started is to make sure that the 0 is lined up with the edge of your paper when you're measuring it for your grid. One of the most common mistakes is students assuming that 0 starts at the end of the ruler. Some of our rulers do, but a lot of them have a mark in here with 0, so make sure you're starting your measuring off with that 0. So real simple 1" grid, make sure 0 is lined up, and then for your drawing paper here, you're going to make really light marks at every inch. So light marks at every inch, just like this, all the way to 8. You're going to be left with a ½ of an inch here. Alright, all these other areas are 1". You're left with a ½ It's very important this ½ inch here matches the ½ inch down at the bottom as well. You don't want the ½ inch marks to be opposite each other because then your grid won't line up. So you don't want to turn your paper to do the bottom, just simply slide your ruler down, line it up again. It doesn't have to be exactly at the bottom, you can put your ruler on top. Line up 0 at the edge of the paper and simply make light marks at the 1", 2", 3", so on and so forth. The inch line is the longest line right to the right of the number. And then once again, make sure this smaller area here is on the same exact side of the paper. You don't want those opposite of each other. Alright, after that, you're simply going to connect your dots and make lines for this part of the grid. I think the best way to do that is to take your pencil, put it right on the top mark, line up your ruler with it. Now you can rotate the ruler while it stays in the top mark. So right now I'm looking right here. After I have this right where I want it, right in that first mark, and the ruler's up next to it, I'm going to take my eyes, and I'm going to move my eyes down here. Now I'm looking at this mark. I'm going to line up the ruler right with that mark right there. Alright, I'm going to push down, hold it, I'm going to check here. Is my little mark showing? Yes. Is this mark showing right next to the ruler? Yes. And you can make your line. Now this is the paper I'm going to draw on, so I want ghost lines. I want these lines to be as light as possible. So you don't want to make your lines holding your pencil by the graphite part. You want to hold the pencil by the eraser and simply just drag the pencil across right against the ruler, just like that, making a very light line. I don't even know if the camera can see that line right now. That's how light it should be. And you're just going to continue going, just like this, throughout the entire paper, making light straight lines, making sure that they are perfect, going right through your measurement marks. And as you can see, all these lines are actually parallel with the sides of your page. If they look crooked to you, you probably measured it incorrectly. And then after you get this stage done, you're simply going to turn the paper and make the same measurements at the top and bottom. 1" is up here, or 1" throughout the paper up here, and same thing at the bottom. Please remember to make sure that your measurements are accurate and that your marks are very light, because your plan is to erase all this after you draw your image. Once I have all of these finished, you're simply going to take your ruler, use that same technique, mark time with your pencil here, line up at the bottom, double check, hold it by the eraser, make your line, and then you can finish your grid.